not to anger any Christians in the room, but it's not necessarily the end point is, do you end with Jesus, but do you end with God? And, I mean, and yeah, same being the Trinity, but at the same point, you do have to make a differentiation in terms of, you know, you only get to God through me, Jesus says, which implies that there is a separation. So I think it's inconclusive, or it's incomplete to just say, do you end with Jesus? I think you have to end with God.
The gentleman.
I have kind of a two-part question for Dr. Goodnow, and the question is, since you have, you stated your Catholic beliefs, my question is, how do you reconcile your kind of argument tonight within the Catholic Bible, where one of the 10 Commandments is you do not worship any other God, and how do you reconcile with that? And then the other part of the question would be, as a Catholic, do you share the gospel? Because part of their, that belief would be you're sharing the gospel because you believe those other people are going down the wrong path, and your message is, to come through Christ, and you believe that Christ is God. So how do you reconcile that, your belief, with what you're arguing tonight?
I have a couple responses. First, I never said I was a good Catholic. But two, I think I do profess my faith. I'm not a recovering Catholic or any of those other monikers that people like to put on Catholics. I'm a Catholic. I tell people I'm a Catholic. I even talk to people about why I'm a Catholic. I use Catholic examples in class. So I do profess it. At the same time, I think in terms of how do I reconcile that, I also read a little thing in the Bible that said, I'm going to screw it up, judge ye not lest ye be judged. So it's not, I truly, truly, truly don't believe it's my place to say that your path is wrong. I can look at it and from my religious perspective say, not the path I'd go on. And I can try and steer them on the right way. And I think as good people, we should always be doing that. But I am certainly not comfortable telling a Muslim or a Jew or any other religion that's not Catholic that you got it wrong, you're going to hell, which was my problem with Father Nate.
Yes, Matthew 7:1 is where that's from. But if you keep going, you'll find that Jesus spends the rest of the chapter talking about exactly how you do judge. So again, you have to read it in context. There's a meaning there. And just to go back briefly to the question before about closing with Jesus, again, I tried to make the point that if you're going to evaluate Christianity, that is the end. That God has revealed himself through Jesus, and this is the way that he is set up. And so that's why I keep saying you have to close with Jesus. That was his claim. If you reject that, then that, I mean, I don't think that's fine. I hope that you do not. But don't think that you have gone the path of Christianity at that point, because that's the Christian truth claim right there. And anything else would not be Orthodox Christianity. How do you fit that into a pluralistic world? I don't think you can. Worldview.
The lady, yes.
I believe that God is a just God, and I don't think he sits up in heaven playing jokes on people down below. So how would you rectify the fact that for most, all the other religions that I know of except for Christianity, the way to God is to earn your way to God, to do good things and earn points towards heaven, never knowing if you're ever good enough, because there's no set rules for those good things. But yet Christianity, God sent Jesus so that if we just freely accept the gift of Jesus into our lives, we are assured of going to heaven. So how would you rectify that God would give Christians such an easy way to heaven, but yet make everybody else work their way there?
Well, I don't know that God gives Christians an easy way. We're supposed to lead Christ-like lives. Last time I looked, that wasn't easy.
It's easy if you accept Jesus into your life and let him be the ruler of your life. So,
Well, sure, but you still have to make human decisions. You still have to struggle with human issues. And yeah, you have a guide, but I would suggest that other religions believe that they have a guide as well. And, you know, I can't say that I'm an expert on all religions to know which ones have tally marks or not. But in a sense, I almost think that's easier. I know that if I've got more tally marks on this side than on this side, I'm good. So, and I do believe that God is a just God, which is why I believe that God wouldn't say, if you have to reject everything you know, everything that you've been taught to believe, and you've got to go to this completely different space that's foreign to you. You have to seek it out because you have to find inadequacies in this religion when you're completely comfortable with it, and it's putting you on a path that you think is right. That to me is unjust. To say that you have to predict which is the right one.
Yeah, I think that God is just. That the human dilemma is not caused by God being unfair. The fair thing would be for all humanity to be condemned. The fact that some are saved is a remarkable thing, and that demonstrates God's grace. In terms of Him giving a different path to other people, or people being devout on a certain path, again, I referenced in Acts where Cornelius, he's a Gentile God-fearer, has aligned himself with the God of Abraham because he's recognized him as the true God. And yet, once Jesus comes on the scene, I use the same phrase again, he had to close with him. He's given a vision. Go send for Peter. He will tell you the words by which you will, future tense, be saved. When Jesus comes on the scene, everything changes for everybody because Jesus was the one, according to the Gospels, sent by God to make a way to God.
The gentleman and the sweater. Yes, sir.
So I'm a bear of very little brain, and I have a number of analogies maybe you can help me with to get behind a little bit of what you've been saying. Question to both of you. So I'm hearing from Dr. Goodnow that, you can take any one of several paths. And if I kind of think of that, you can drive down any lane. And I can hear from Dr. Miles, there's really only one lane. And whether I do well or poorly in that model depends entirely on whether I'm traveling on I-5 or Peoria Road. So if I'm traveling on any lane I like in Peoria Road, I'm likely to hit a disaster. So I guess I'm trying to think, can you make a little bit of a case for me, Dr. Goodnow, why do you feel like it's an I-5 road? And Dr. Miles, why do you feel like it's a Peoria road?
Well, I would suggest that I really think that they're both roads. Because you can take both I-5 and Peoria Road to Eugene, right?
No, I better hit the right lane if I go on Peoria Road.
Right. And I never said that all paths were the right paths, right? Pretty much if you go down Peoria Road, it's really hard. I mean, yeah, you can turn off places, but Peoria Road basically goes to Junction City, which goes to Eugene, okay? If you're in the wrong lane, you're going to Corvallis, and no one wants to do that. Right, if you're driving from Eugene, right? If you're coming, if you're going in the opposite direction of God.
What I'm suggesting is that I could be driving southbound on Peoria Road in the left lane.
Right.
That's not a good thing.
Right, which means you're on the wrong road. Because you're not going to get there.
Why am I don't know. I can't remember what the example was. I don't really need to know where Peoria is.
Illinois.